part 2 of my paranormal experiences. So after I moved out of my mom's house, which I forgot to mention in part 1, a doctor used to live there like back in the day. It was built, I believe, in the 1920s. It's a pretty decently old house. Anyway, I used to find old-fashioned medicine bottles in the woods and stuff too. It was really cool. So I move out of that house and eventually meet this ex. I move into the house with him. We lived there for about 4 years. We were together for 5 years. So in this home, we dealt with, especially me, a lot of paranormal experiences. And my ex was a skeptic that eventually started to believe what was going on. So it all started with me feeling an energy upstairs. Now, I never saw anything upstairs, but I felt it. It was really heavy. We had a laundry room up there, and the light switch was all the way on the other side of the room. So you had to go through the dark to turn the light on, and I used to run. I did not trust that upstairs at all. Now, my ex's nephew used to come and sleep over, and we watched him. He was only like 3 or 4 years old, and he would sleep upstairs. There was one night he woke up screaming, top of his lungs. We ran up there. I'm holding him, asking him what's wrong, and he's shaking. And he says he saw someone walking in the room across from his, and we had both doors open. And we asked him who it was. Did he know them? And he said no, but it looked like an old man. So, I believe something lived up there. Now, it's important to note my ex and I were in a very abusive relationship, and energies naturally grow on negative energy that you're giving out. So the energy in the house started to grow stronger and stronger as we started to notice different things happening. So one of the events that happened was we had this closet door that was in between our bedroom and the living room. And it was an old house, so like old-fashioned doors. And it was constantly opening on its own. At first, we thought it was like warped or something, but it wasn't. And it started getting worse and worse that even you just walk by it, it would pop open. You'd be sitting on the couch, it would pop open. It just popped open on its own all the time, and it was just really freaky. Then we ignore that situation. The biggest event that happened where he was with me, we got into a huge fight that night. It's important to note. And we go to bed. We get into bed, lights off, movies going, door is closed. All of a sudden, there are 3 loud bangs on our bedroom door. My ex gets up, the dog's growling, we fly open the door, no one's there. He goes and starts looking at the front door and the side door to see if the doors are open or unlocked, and he found the back door open, and he's freaking out because before bed he always went around the house and locked the doors. He was very paranoid, so he knew he locked that door, and somehow it was open after hearing those bangs on our bedroom door. So that really freaked him out. Now, another event happened a little bit later. My ex and I were having issues. We were fighting. We broke up. I was sitting on the couch trying to get some sleep, but I wasn't gonna. Now, I'm texting someone, and all of a sudden I start hearing noises. And so I pull my attention to the stairs that go upstairs. And in front of the stairs, we had that little archway doorway. And all of a sudden, I saw an old witchy-looking woman just running at me angrily, and then she dissipated in front of my face. I was so scared. I went into the bedroom where my ex was sleeping, and he woke up and asked me what I was doing because, of course, we weren't sleeping in the same room at the time. And I literally said, I can't be out there. I'm asleep on the floor. I needed someone near me. It was too much. And then I just think it's funny how at some point our ceiling fell in the kitchen one night. That was just really weird, you know? So we dealt with a lot of interesting things in that home. We even had a paranormal investigator come to the house. They got a few words off the machine upstairs and saw the closet door pop open, but nothing really came of it. So I don't know. I find it kind of interesting. To this day, I still give mediumship readings. I do readings on Facebook a lot, and I have grown my business, which has been really nice. And I do connect to random people sometimes. They just kind of show up. And there was one where I was doing dishes, and I kept hearing Chrissy coming into my head. Where's Chrissy? Now that's my mom's nickname, and I don't know anyone that still calls her that. So I knew it had to be someone from her past. And I said, I don't really talk to her. Sorry, trying to shut it off. And I kept hearing I need to talk to her. So I messaged my mom and described the woman I was seeing in my head. And I said, I think you might have gone to high school with this woman. And she was spooked. She literally opened up her old yearbook, took a picture of the woman in the yearbook, and it looked exactly like who I was seeing in my head. And she told me that they were friends in high school, but they had a falling out because someone was talking smack about my mom, and her friend didn't stand up for her, and it really hurt her feelings, and they just stopped being friends. And I kept hearing this woman saying, I'm sorry. So I was like, well, that makes sense then. And this woman had just passed away a couple weeks before that. My mom had just found out. And so it was just real coincidental, the timing and everything. And I've even had my grandmother reach out to me and want to speak to my mom. And it's weird for me because my mom never believed me in having these abilities, or that our house was haunted, or that I saw wolves everywhere, which I did. And she remembers it too. And, she always thought I was just had an active imagination. And then I ended up getting diagnosed with, depression and bipolar and, all these different mental things, that it was another excuse. And it wasn't until I moved out of the house and her pictures started falling off the walls and they were seeing shadows that she started coming to me about the house. And then I was giving her these messages from my grandmother, and then she started coming to me to ask about my grandmother, and then I proved to her about my tarot cards, and so she started coming to me about those things. But I still can't necessarily talk to her about spiritual things because she has a hard time believing in it. So it's very catch-22. Just interesting thought. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the stories.